Thank you all for being here tonight at the 2022 class of the Athletic Hall of Fame. Welcome to this ceremony and welcome to all Yellow Jacket fans. This year, Dennis Springs High School, Dennis Springs Athletic Hall of Fame, Dennis Springs Athletic Association are celebrating 125 years of Dennis Springs High School. And a great part of that Dennis Springs High School legacy is the athletics that we've been able to have at Dennis Springs High School and the athletes that we've been able to produce in this community. Since Dennis Springs High School was founded in 1897, Jacket fans have been blessed with many outstanding athletes, coaches, and loyal supporters. Through the years, our beloved school has produced 6 high school All-Americans, 8 collegiate All-Americans, an Olympian, and an NFL team president. We are proud of our sports heroes who grew up in this community playing Little League baseball and Pee Wee football on our local soil, coached by some of you sitting here tonight. It is indeed a pleasure to honor the class of 2022, the 12th class to be enshrined in the Dennis Springs High School Athletic Hall of Fame. At this time, I would like to introduce some distinguished guests we have with us tonight. Please stand and be recognized. Senator Rogers Pope. Representative Buddy Wilson. Mr. Jason Harris, Livingston Parish Clerk of Court. Mr. Cecil Harris, President, Livingston Parish School Board. Mr. Brad Harris, member of Livingston Parish School Board. Mr. Doug Hughes, retired District Court Judge. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. At this time, we are especially pleased this evening by a great turnout from all of our past Hall of Fame classes. They have come to welcome the class of 2022 into this elite club. At this time, I'm going to call by class members of the Dennis Springs Athletic Hall of Fame. The class of 2011, please stand and be recognized when your name is called. Mr. Cecil Harris. Jeff Bird, standing for Grady Hornsby. Drexel Robinson. Bridget Gilbert, standing for Randy Rushing. Mr. Butch Wax. The 2011 class. In the class of 2012, Kathy DeGeneres, standing for Mr. Lloyd DeGeneres. Tori Glover, standing for Mr. Larry Glover. Madonna Hood, standing for Donald Ray Hood. Marilyn Jones, standing for Eddie Jones. Leslie O'Neill, the class of 2012. For the class of 2014, Paige Satcher. Tommy Glover, standing for Rex Wilkinson. Class of 2014. And with us from the class of 2015, Mr. Bradley Harris. Penny Luke. And Roy Zachary. Representing the class of 2016, Susan Williams-Chambliss. Van Foster Jr. Lauren Byers Garrison, class of 2016. With us tonight from the class of 2017, standing for Lancey Hill, Ms. LaDonna Hood. State Senator Rogers Pope. Robbie Allen Spangler, the class of 2017. Standing with us tonight from the class of 2018, Colonel Jim Spring. With us tonight from the class of 2019, Van Foster III. With us tonight from the class of 2020, Clint Earnhardt. And with us tonight from the class of 2021, Jeannie Reeves. If there is anybody in here I have missed, please stand and be recognized at this time. I read through the list that they gave me. Stand and be recognized. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium Mr. Billy McDaniel. Pastor Billy McDaniel of the First Baptist Church of Denham Springs is standing in tonight for Mike DiMaria, the director of our local Fellowship of Christian Athletes chapter. Pastor Billy is the proud father of Ford McDaniel, who is a starting offensive lineman for the Yellow Jackets. Billy will lead us in a brief remembrance and the invocation.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the 83 sports figures who have been inducted into the Hall of Fame thus far, 27 have left us all too soon, all sons and daughters of Denham Springs. Most recently, Mr. Roger West, Mr. Donald Ray Hood, and Mr. Larry Glover. Decent men of towering character, they passed away. Please rise now and join in honoring their memory along with these other Hall of Famers who are all mighty Yellow Jackets.
Take the next few moments to make some acknowledgments. First, I'd like to make a big thank you to our title sponsor, Hood Dental Care. As all of you know, sports and athletics takes a great deal of passion and heart and love for what you do and a lot of sweat and tears. But I think as parents, we all know it takes a whole lot of money too. So we want to thank Hood Dental Care for their title sponsorship for this program tonight. We'd also like to thank our plaque donors, Bond Road Eye Clinic, Gerard and Marion Landry, Quick and Handy Cleaners, Smith Accounting Services, and Sport Center. If y'all could please help me give them a big round of applause and thank you for their contribution. We'd also like to include in those thank you Thank you to Livingston Parish News, whose continued coverage of Denham Springs athletics brings a lot of recognition and glory to our students and young ones. Also like to give a big thank you to Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill, the home of the Hall of Fame. If you have never been over there, you are missing something to see that presentation. That is a wonderful thing they have set up for us down there. And when you go down there, give back to them what they have given to us, and check that out. That's a very special thing. I would like to introduce to the podium at this time Mr. Butch Wax. Former Denham Springs High School student, athlete, coach, athletic director, and former principal. He is here tonight to recognize Mr. Doug Hughes, longtime MC.
It's a great honor and a great pleasure for me to recognize Doug Hughes as someone who's been an integral part of the Denham Springs High School Hall of Fame being a success. As the master of ceremony, Doug was our quarterback, our point guard, and our pitcher on the mound. He was the person who decided whether or not our game plan was successful. And he's done an outstanding job in presenting himself as well. There were times when there were sometimes little hiccups that we had to take care of, but not a problem for Doug. He was always as cool as a cucumber. Early on, we knew he was going to be our franchise player. Doug served with a great deal of enthusiasm and distinction as our master of ceremony for 5 years. And had it not been for a life-changing event, the steady debilitation of Parkinson's disease, he would have remained our MC for a number of years in the future. He loved what he did, and we loved that he did it. It has been a great disappointment for him as well as us. And since we know that, he said it was the highlight of his year. He enjoyed it so much, he looked forward to it and was able to administer it. We wish to honor the contributions through the years that he represented the Master of Ceremony. And not only that, but those that might have been. And had the unforeseen health issue taken its toll. We want to know, Doug, that we love you and that we appreciate not only what you have done as the MC, but more importantly, the person that you are, and also the testimony that you present today. So if you'd come forward, we'd like to present you with a little token of appreciation.
While we are doing that, I would like to introduce Mr. Travis Hood. Travis Hood is a 2007 Denham Springs High School graduate, representing his father in Hood Dental Care tonight. In high school, Travis gained a certain notoriety as our original 12th man, among other things, but we'll go with the 12th man for now. For the Yellow Jackets, he was a true super fan. Currently working on a master's degree in business, he also manages the development and growth of Hood Dental Care, our title sponsor, now in his 3rd year of supporting Yellow Jacket athletics. Please welcome to the podium, Mr. Travis Hood.
Let's start with a story about Mr. Wax. You know, when I was a senior in high school, he called me to the office early one morning and he asked me about some events that had taken place the weekend before, and in a specific detail he had about these events, because he wasn't there, so I was very curious, and I, dead to rights, I was like, how do you know this? And he said, Son, you'd be surprised how much you can learn if you listen more than you talk. And so, with that in mind, I'm going to try to keep this short for you tonight. I'm on the clock somewhere around here. I think it goes without saying that I was in no way the first option for someone to get up and speak on behalf of the family. The last 2 years, I had to sit at the table, my dad and my brother, apologizing, telling you how thankful you should be that one of them was available, because I would have been the only option remaining, and then you should have been very thankful for that. If you don't understand why they said that, you'll understand in about 2 minutes, I guess. For those of you who don't know me, as Mr. Howard said, my name is Travis Hood. I did graduate in 2007. I'm here tonight with my beautiful wife, Chelsea, who a few years after convincing, she did marry me, a little reluctantly in February. And then she actually got a fender bender on the way home from work today, so I was worried she wasn't going to get here. So I do have a copy of the marriage certificate just in case she wasn't going to show. So you didn't think I was telling a story. I am married, but she's right there. And to answer the question you're all thinking, she is not deaf and she is not blind. Might be deaf, I don't know. The rest of our family couldn't be here. They're all out of town because of the scheduling conflicts and all that. Which, by the way, Coach, they said that there wasn't any referees available, and they kept kind of moving things around, thinking that there's just a lack of referees who are terrified of you because you're such a big man. Like, I've played golf with the guy. Trust me, it's terrifying. But I'm actually the only member of my family, and despite what someone told Mr. Howard and then he told you, I'm not very much involved in the dental care. I do a few things for that on the side, but people ask what I do, for a living, and if I work in the business, and I have to tell them, my dad's a dentist, my older brother Andrew's a dentist, my little sister's a hygienist, and I play bass in the cover band. I'm a middle child if there ever was one. Any of you that taught me, you to understand that. But no, in all seriousness, my family loves belonging to Denver Springs. My papa, Elgene Hood, he lived on River Road for nearly 70 years, and my family roots run deep in the city. I'm looking around, I'm related to half the room. A lot of who you just saw on the screen are family, and I've always been proud of that. I'm proud of the traditions of faith, family, and education that exist, that have made Denham and continue to make Denham the great city that it is. As proud as I am to be from Denham, Springs, I am equally as proud to not be from Watson, Walker, or Central. And not very specifically. I would like to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my family and on behalf of the dental care. I want to congratulate all the honorees on your incredible accomplishments, and give a special thank you to all of you that have put this on and started it and continue to do it, and will continue to do it for many years. I did want to share one story that I think can probably best sum up the way I feel, and I think that a lot of you that I know from Denham feel about Denham Springs. And one Sunday morning, as a teenager, I was maybe 12, 13 years old. One of the deacons at First Baptist Church stood up, and before he gave the prayer at the end of the service, he said, "I do want to say a few things." And he was just talking about how blessed he was, and he was blessed to have a wonderful wife and wonderful kids and wonderful grandchildren and all that. And then he said, "And I get to live in Denham Springs." I can't think of anything better than that. Thank you so much. Enjoy that.
Please help me in introducing Miss Laura Dunlap to the podium. Miss Laura Dunlap is a 1996 graduate of Denham Springs High School and principal of 7th Ward Elementary. She is a fierce Yellow Jacket fan and serves as president of the Denham Springs High School Athletic Association.
It's an honor to be here tonight in the midst of such giants in our school's history. The Denham Springs High School Athletic Association was created in 2007 by a group of supportive parents, community members, and Jacket alumni who wanted to be able to give back to the some 14 sports that we have at our school today. They wanted to make sure that we could raise funds that would help all student sports and would go directly to the athletes. So at this time, the Athletic Association can say that they have donated over $100,000 back to our school in various projects that include things like grants for equipment, lodging, travel, and team meals, just to name a few. But our goal is to help coaches provide for their students what they need to be successful. We raise funds through our $25 a year dues for your entire family, our annual golf tournament, and this event, the Hall of Fame. This year, our golf tournament raised over $20,000 and was the largest one to date. We're hoping to top that number next year. We also this year kicked off our $125 for 125 years campaign, and you'll notice at your table there's a little blurb about that, and we would like to ask you to partner with us. We are looking to have 125 supporters do that, and we are over halfway towards our goal. And as you know, that money will help us with a lot of the things that we need at this big, new, beautiful stadium. So I just wanted to continue by saying that the benefits of membership are that you can enjoy the tailgate before the game, which we'll have tomorrow at Walker. And we also have monthly meetings. It's usually the third Monday at Big Mike's, and he provides a light snack. We, again, hope that tomorrow you can see us out at the game at 6 p.m. under the giant Jason Art tent. We'll have some tailgating dinner for you and some good fellowship. Then on Monday, it's our annual, our monthly meeting. It'll be at 6:30 at Big Mike's. And follow us on Facebook where you can keep up with all of the ongoing athlete posts and things, as well as what we are doing, so you can get involved that way as well. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for the tremendous work that they take and make in putting this event on. It's an outstanding event. And also I want to thank the Athletic Association board members, Jason Harris, Robbie Spangler, Terry Whitehead, Paul Guitro, Julie Jacobson, Jason Harris, Laura Schmidt-Smith, and Laura Booth for their help throughout the year. Thank you for joining us tonight and celebrating the previous inductees and those in the class of 2022. Thank you for the contributions and the legacy that you have left in our school. It is one that should never be forgotten.
Those of you who've been with us in prior years know what's coming next. I'd like to request all current Hall of Fame members, if you would please produce 2 lines going straight down the middle of this so that we can welcome our new inductees in. Those of you who've done it last year, help the new guys. We'll be making 2 lines on either side of this walkway to welcome our new inductees. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to before you, behind you, as we introduce the Denham Springs High School Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2022. Cold War. Mr. Cold War is a heralded receiver selected in the class 4A All-State football team as the state's best tight end in its highest classification. As team captain, he led the Jackets to a 9-3 record in 1987 and earned a football scholarship to Delta State University. Mr. Coldwater. Scotty Fontenot. Scotty Fontenot. Valedictorian. Star quarterback. Star shortstop. Senior class president. Led Denham Springs High School to an 11-2 football record in 1985 and its first ever state title in baseball in 1986. He received a baseball scholarship to Nicholls State University. Mr. Scotty Fontenot. Troy Fontenot. Troy Fontenot was a star quarterback and a celebrated Class 4A All-State defensive safety who was also honored as his district's Defensive Player of the Year. He set the school record for most interceptions in a season with 8 picks in only 9 games. Mr. Troy Fontenot. Ms. Natalie Landry. And a 2-time Class 5A All-State outfielder who won MVP honors at the prestigious LHSAA All-Star Softball Game in 2012. She received a softball scholarship to Northwestern State University. Ms. Natalie Landry. D. Rancher Langlois. D. Rancher was a rare 4-time All-District honoree and district MVP as a pitcher and second baseman in 1995. She helped Denham Springs High School to 4 straight district titles and earned a softball scholarship to Southeastern Louisiana University. Ms. D. Rancher. Over the summer, Hall of Fame was able to interview each of our 5 inductees and was able to, I'm not going to talk too much about that actually, I'm just going to let them tell you on video. We're going to present our inductees in alphabetical order. Each one of them has an interview presentation up here. First one we'll be presenting is Mr. Cole Brown.
When I was a youth, elementary school, we started playing baseball for the park. And at school, everybody was talking about going to play football. And so in the 3rd grade, we started playing with the Packers. And that's where I met probably half the team I graduated with. Growing up, my dad was a role model, really put a work ethic in me. Watched how he worked, and he worked to make sure we could play sports. He worked to make sure all that would happen. He would work all week, and if we played on a Saturday, he was there at every game, never missed a high school game, coached all the little league football he could. He put a work ethic in me, and still look back and see it today and try to live by that today. Growing up on Friday nights, everybody went to the high school football games. As a kid, you played football behind the home stadium, behind the bleachers. And as you got older and were more involved in football yourself, you started paying more attention to the games. Then you started knowing the players' names and really watching. And at that age, that was just the coolest thing you could do, was be a Denham Springs Yellow Jacket. And that's what we all strive to be. And it was, we talk about it now, and it wasn't a question of if we would make it, it was when we were going to be there. And so it started at a young age. And I think it was a way of life. Some of the happiest memories are the friendships we made. After every film day, after Saturday morning film, we would go to Miles's house, Miles Holyfield, and eat breakfast. Miss Sheila would make breakfast for all of us. Coach Terry was there 99% of the time with us. And that was always interesting, recapping Friday and getting ready for the next week. The other is the films, Big D, letting everybody know how they did. And and the way he let you know how you did. It was always comical, and that we would grade the game on how Big D did on Saturday morning. One of my fondest memories was, everybody knows Big D liked to run a 24 lead, and I would double down with Mike Laporte on the tackle. Mike Laporte could be a beast, and if he didn't want to block or he didn't have the go in him, it was rough. And I made him mad on the field, and he turned around and wanted to hit me, and Big D was getting all upset, and I'm like, Big D, we got it, 24 lead all night. And he was like, good, go ahead, we're good. And so that was a great memory. Chris Lee moved in, and we weren't sure what he could do. I'm sure the coaches knew exactly what he could do. And he starts throwing the ball. And Big D wanted to run the ball. He was all about off tackle, maybe a sweep. And then Coach Terry wanted to throw the ball. He was more into the receivers and working with the receivers, the importance of routes, the importance of working with your hands and training. And somewhere in the middle, Coach Wax found a medium for us. Chris Lee would throw it, and if Billy Ross said it best in one of his news articles, that if I wasn't open, he would just dump it to Cole. And that's what we did, and it worked for us. I can't remember if it was Bel Air. I think it was Bel Air we were playing, and we had run the ball a lot that night, and they had shut that 24 lead down. Jamie Walker comes in the ball game, and he looks at me, he said, can y'all cut that end off? And Coach Wax had called a 24 lead. He said, can y'all cut the end off? Me and Mike said, we got this side. He said, you want to run the sweep? I said, we got to do something different. We hadn't scored a first down all night. Chris Lee looks at us, he's like, oh no. And he's nervous as a cat. His eyes are big and his feet are moving. Jamie looks at everybody and says, 22 sweep on one. Chris Lee's looking like, what are y'all doing? He says, we're running 22 sweep. And he says, oh goodness. So he just went with it. And we sprung it for about 15 yards and got the first down. But there was a timeout called, and we all went to the sideline immediately and were questioned, what are y'all doing? We said, Coach, we had to do something different. We hadn't got a first down all night. They let us know real fast that we better not do that often, and we better make sure we get a first down if we pull a stunt like that. Another fond memory was that we talk about to this day, a lot of the old players, is the work hard and have fun. It seems like if it was two-a-days, we had fun at the morning practice, the afternoon practice, and at Poncho's eating lunch. We could be working hard, we could have to run extra wind sprints for whatever reason. We were still laughing. Stevie Davis and Lynn Zachary are still on the end saying, we got more in us. And we would laugh and run them. And it didn't matter what we had to do, we had fun doing it. And that was a fond memory of the whole thing, and looking back and seeing how that can go on into life. No matter what you're doing, you can have fun and be good at it. My senior year, as everything was wrapping up, we started watching the paper for the all district and stuff like that. And so when that came out and I saw my name on it, I was excited, and that was great. That was a lot of fun. Excited to be on that list because that meant something. Never really thought I had a chance at an All-State, didn't think about it until I walked in the office one morning, and Coach Wax is sitting on the counter and says, hey, you made All-State. And I remember thinking, oh, you're joking, this isn't real, it's not true. And he says, no, I'm serious, you did. And so then it kind of started to sink in, and that was a great honor. That was a good day. I was excited. Being All-State was also going to be hard to come by in the offense we ran the previous year. Chris Lee coming, opening up our passing game, he created the opportunity for me to catch those 41 passes. And so there's a big thanks to him for getting me there also. Got out of high school and went over and visited Delta State and ended up going. When I got there, realized college football, that's definitely a business, and got involved in it, was having fun. Eventually I realized I was too small for tight end, and I was a step too slow for the other receivers to cut off of me and so forth. And I had a good time. It was a great experience. I left after 2 years. The Denham Springs Athletic Association Hall of Fame, to be nominated was a great honor. I wasn't really sure it was going to happen, and when I got the phone call that it did happen, there again, it's a lot of excitement, a lot of joy, something to be proud of. We all try to be the best at what we do, and we worked really hard, and to be recognized and noticed at this level, it's a great honor and something to be proud of, and proud and glad to be a part of the Denham Springs Athletic Association Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank all the coaching staff of that day, but because we came from a running offense, we had Chris Lee brought in, a coaching staff that swapped over to a run-pass offense. Coach Terry working with us on the routes and the hands. Billy Ross was there, I was there, Chris Lee was there. We led a lot of the passing game. There were other people involved also. David Roddy, Leroy Toney running the ball. That was another aspect of it. That opened up the pass. If you don't have a running game, you don't have a passing game. If you don't have a passing game, you don't have a running game. So we did it for each other. Jamie Walker leading the defense on the other side of the ball. It was two sides of the ball and a whole team that put me here, and I'd like to thank the coaching staff and everybody that played on that team. I'd also like to thank my parents for hauling me all around, hauling me to all the Pee Wee football games, making sure we were at all the practices, keeping everything lined out for that aspect. I'd like to thank the selection committee for voting on me, thinking I was worthy of it.
Our next presentation will be from Mr. Scotty Fontenot.
You know, I first became involved in sports, as long as I can remember. Sports has always been kind of part of my DNA. When I was a kid, I always had, a ball in my hand, was playing basketball, football with the neighbors. It's just been a big part of my life ever since I can remember, and it still is today. I mean, I've always had a competitive spirit. I realized at a young age that I couldn't sing, couldn't play the guitar, so I had to, maybe stick to something that I was halfway decent at. My first, memories were playing baseball, at the park, and, a couple times a week, having games out there. And I can remember, even as a kid, being super excited the whole day, carrying my glove around, kind of just, waiting for that game to start. Spent many summer nights, at the park playing baseball. So that's probably the most vivid memory of kind of my youth as it relates to sports. I had a lot of role models. I've always had a great respect and appreciation for all of the coaches that have coached me. Particularly back in the day, they didn't do it for the money. They did it for the kids, they did it for the love of the sport, and I've always respected that and appreciated it. I had some coaches that were just really good coaches. They helped me to learn to be a better, athlete, to be a better player. I had other coaches who were good coaches, but they were also more than that. They were mentors. They were role models, then and even still today. So, those men have played an important part of my life. There's just so many memories of my time here. The obvious one was winning the state championship in baseball. Not many people get to say that they had that experience. It was really a magical year. We had a really good team. And to kind of finish that season off with a state championship is something that I'll never forget. The other thing that just pops into my mind immediately is game day, on Fridays. You started the day by, getting to wear the jersey to school. Chicks dig the jersey, so that was cool. We had the pep rally in the afternoon, and it ended with the game. Kind of running through the goalpost. Playing 3 sports was actually pretty easy. In basketball, they made me pass to Ben. In football, I had to turn around and hand it to Glenn. So it actually wasn't too hard. But no, seriously, it was a blessing. It was actually a privilege and an honor. To be able to do that. It's a lot harder for kids to do that today, with the demands. But back then it was possible, and I probably would have ran track if it wouldn't have conflicted with baseball season. There's just a ton of memories, from playing all those sports. They each required a different skill set. I had different coaches, different teammates, different competition, and so it was just, each one was unique. And so, it's just a lot of fun, and again, I'm just thankful that I had that opportunity. The individual accolades were nice. I'd be lying if I didn't appreciate that and, enjoy it. But, I always had a kind of a team first, attitude. It was always about winning first, and, that was just, kind of who I was and what I thought was important. The positions I played were kind of unique. I was point guard in basketball, I was shortstop in baseball, and I was quarterback in football. And for me, those positions kind of demanded, a certain level of leadership. They also demanded, I think, a more team first, kind of mindset. And so, I've always really focused on the team. But again, I do appreciate I was fortunate enough to receive some awards and some accolades for my individual performance, but it was always about winning. And the great news, when I played here, we were fortunate enough to win a lot of games, and so that maybe made it a little bit easier. When I played here, we were fortunate to have some really good teams. It was kind of the golden age, for sports here. Our regular season record in football when I played was 28-2, which was pretty remarkable. And we were well known, well respected, throughout the state when I played. In baseball, I think we lost 2 games that year. And I remember us being ranked in the top 5 of the USA Today rankings for the high school baseball, which was, just, 1, kind of astounding. 2, it was, very, gratifying, So it was just really a wonderful time. When you played, you expected to win, and that was, maybe we took that for granted, but it was, it was a good time. The thing that I'm really proud of was being valedictorian. There's not a lot of athletes, I think, that can put that on their resume. I knew at some point my athletic career would end, and I'd need something to fall back on. So school was always really important to me. One of the games that I have the kind of the most memories from was our playoff victory against East Ascension. I had a really good game, so that helps the memory. But it was just, I think, one of our more complete games that we had played that year. I mean, we had good balance on offense, running the ball, throwing the ball. And for some reason, they were desperate and put me in the secondary for a few plays, and I actually got an interception. So, that was also a highlight. One of the most disappointing games ever was Ruston. That was when our senior season ended. I thought we were the better team. We just didn't execute as well as we needed, and part of that was on me, quite frankly, and that's part of the maybe the sadness for going out that way. It's one thing to get beat by a team that's better, and it's another thing to kind of think you should have won. But they had a great team, but we had a great team, and it was just sad, most importantly for that game to end. I think it was a great game. Just the scoreboard didn't reflect the good guys winning. Yeah, I had a good experience playing baseball at Nichols. I was fortunate to start for 4 years. And we had some really good teams when I was there. I played with a lot of great players from across the country. We played great competition, and so it was, a really, enjoyable, competitive, opportunity that I had. I specifically remember my junior year. We had a really, really good team, and we were fortunate. We were an at-large selection for the NCAA regional tournament, which for a school the size of Nichols was an outstanding accomplishment. So it was just really a magical year that we had, really the highlight of my college career. I made lifelong friends, so it was a good experience. It's an honor to be selected to the High School Hall of Fame. I thoroughly enjoyed the time here that I had at the high school. Loved competing for Denham Springs. Love the purple and gold, still do today. So it's just an honor. I mean, it's one of those things that you'll never forget. It's not expected or anticipated. It's humbling, and so it's really just an honor to be considered. And I had such great memories and fond times here. Loved competing for the Yellow Jackets. And so it's just truly an honor. Well, first I need to thank the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, but I need to give a big shout out to my sister Melissa. She took the initiative to do this, did a lot of research, did a lot of work. So I really appreciate that. Without her efforts, I wouldn't be here. And I also want to thank my family. Lots of practices and games over the years, that requires, sacrifice. And so it's kind of a family affair, particularly when you play as many sports and was as active as I was. I'd also like to thank all of my coaches and, the guys I played with. They worked hard and tried their best to make me a better player and a better teammate. So lots of people to thank. I'm just really humbled, to be here, and I do appreciate, all the efforts that helped me get here.
Next to the presentation, Mr. Troy Fonda.
I think I weighed probably 80 pounds. I went out for the Packers and ended up starting at the right guard. And the coach said, you just got so much ability to play. I just want you to play at right guard at 80 pounds. My mom was worried, but that's how it really all started. I went from there to running back to quarterback, and I played defensive safety. So that's how I got started in sports. And that program really helped a lot of people learn how to play football. When we got to the high school level, we were pretty much ready to play. Baseball kind of was a back burner, summertime thing. Football was always my #1 sport. I enjoyed it. Coach Bailey was an unbelievable coach. I still see stuff in the college league now that he taught. I had basically a role model when I grew up. I remember watching TV on the floor with my dad. We used to watch Miami Dolphins, the Blackwood brothers. That's my two boys. They were two safeties, and I mean, I just watched them religiously and loved everything they did and how they played the game. We would sit for, I don't know, hours on end, and we would just learn the game. And at Christmas, I would get a football uniform. And I'm still today a Miami Dolphins fan. I don't care if they're 0-18, I still watch Miami Dolphins. And I think probably when I started high school, I was working, I played safety behind a guy named Jeff Floyd. I think he came from Central. He was a safety and a quarterback, and he really took me under his wing and taught me everything about being defense and what to look for, the keys and how to play and play hard. And you know, he turned around and told me after he graduated, "You're going to be a starter. You're going to be a star here too, sir." My dad had a lot to do with it too. He helped coach the Packers team, and he gave me a lot of pointers. But I did learn a lot from Mr. Marcus and all them. As far as, I mean, if you had talent, you played hard, they made you work. They kind of gave us the work ethic that we needed to. When you get to school balls, you're going to need this. And he was also All-State in school. My mama was All-State in basketball. So I need to add that too. My dad and my mom both were unbelievable players in high school. So my mom was a basketball player. She showed me pictures. She would shoot her free throws with one arm. And I was like, unbelievable athlete. So we come from a bloodline of athletes, and they really inspired me too. I mean, I had a lot to do with my parents, so I kind of brought that to my kids too. So the memories I had playing football for Denham, there's so much of them. The brotherhood, the friendship that we had, and from the underclassmen to take you under their wing and really, you know, bring you along with the system. The system that Coach Wax and them brought to this table was unbelievable. Today, those three coaches were just four coaches. They were like dads to us, and they taught us how to play the game. And we just, the younger crowd, the younger classmates really set the pace for us to actually excel. Now, I can still remember a lot of the memories was having the bonfires when we played Central. Central, like, was our rivalry, but heck, everybody was our rival. I mean, everybody hated us. Everybody wanted to beat us, but I enjoyed having those bonfires before the game on Thursday night or whatever it was, the cheerleaders, the bands, and all that really pumped you up for the game. I can remember a lot of things that night happened. I think we were underdogs. We were pretty much outmanned. They were huge that year. And I remember playing quarterback, and I got tackled and I separated my shoulder. I couldn't raise my left arm. So I come out of the game and it popped back in, and I ended up staying, I think, out the whole first half. And I think we were losing 21-0. And I think I talked to Coach Wax or Coach Bailey and said, "Look, I can't play quarterback, but I can still play defense and hit somebody." So I put my pads back on and went back out there. And I don't know how I ended up with 3 interceptions, raising one arm and doing this, but I think it was just an act of God. I just wanted to win. And I remember at one time I could hear them in the huddle. The Hammond team was all laughing and giggling. They was 21 points up. I think it was their homecoming. Like we were done. I fired my team up, and I believe we actually came back and won that game. And it was just great. I can remember at one time we were playing, one fond memory. We were playing Bel Air at their place, and everybody was a little better than us. Bel Air was a good team, and I remember the first half I did a quarterback sneak to go up 7-0, I think it was. And as I was running off the field, the cheerleaders used to throw these little footballs in the stands when we scored a touchdown. So as I was running off the field, a football came on the field, and I picked it up and just launched it back up in the stands. And a classmate of mine named Scott Fesky caught it. And after the game, I didn't notice, but he's the one who threw the ball down on the field. And I picked it up and threw it back to him. And I didn't, he said it was a miracle. I don't know how you did that. And that's what, I got chills now just talking about it. I was like, there's no way you caught that ball. I just threw it up in the stands. The awards that I won, it's kind of weird because we didn't have the digital age. We didn't grow up in digital age. We never knew that we were good. I didn't take it. You know, I was always taught this was a team sport. You don't think about you don't think about none of that. You just play the game. And all those awards came after. It was amazing to me that coaches voted on me as this. I didn't think I was that good. I was just playing the game I loved. I believe today that how the game has changed is unbelievable. So my sons, you know, they played 5A ball and they could not believe that. We went both ways. It's like, Dad, how do you do that? I said, we had to. We put the best 11 on the field, and we worked our butts off, and that's how we come to what we did. You know, I can remember crying at night with cramps every night. My mom had to pick me up out of the hallway. I ate bananas and peanut butter jelly. I think I weighed 165 pounds when I graduated, but I was a hitting machine. I hit people so hard. I actually hit my JV team too many times at practice. Coach D used to get mad at me. Coach D used to be the quarterback. And he would holler, no, you ain't gonna do this no more. And he would throw the ball or he would pass. And he said, quit hitting our guys, them poor guys. And you know what, that helped them out a lot because I think they went to state, they played playoffs ever since that. Not only did I do that, I said, we didn't have a kicker. I had to kick. I think I started punting. I think I kicked and I punted till halfway through the season. And I told Coach Wax, I gotta get off the field. You gotta find somebody that can kick. And hopefully you could get up and go back at it at 9 o'clock film Saturday morning. Never could forget that. Man. We were reading the paper. That's all we had was paper. See how bad we did. Either we got blessed or we got cussed at. It was one way or the other, and we were back at it Monday morning. Those coaches, when they got out of that coaching room, they had all these plays. They had everything we needed to know about that other team. And that was unbelievable. I would go home on Monday night and read my whole scout. And then when the scout team got there on Tuesday, I would know every play. I could tell you how they lined up. I could tell you what they was going to run. I could tell you everything that was going on, but my coaches did all that on paper, and it was unbelievable. You know, selected to the Hall of Fame was actually, I didn't know a lot about it and really didn't pay more attention until my brother, Joe Fontenot, which was a really good athlete here too. He took it upon himself, him and his wife, I guess because he's seen so much of this going on that you really needed to be nominated. And I was like, well, if you want to nominate me, that's fine. You know, like I said, it's a big deal. I didn't think much of it until I got nominated, and my kids are like, you know, so happy and say, you deserve this. And I said, well, there's a lot of other athletes that deserved it way before me. I mean, we just did what we did. We played, and I'm really honored that I was nominated and able to get in. There's a lot of people that I would like to thank. I mean, God in my life, my talent, all my coaches that were in my life really taught me how to be a great athlete, but also they taught me how to be a man. And you don't get a lot of that. My dad also did that too. But you know, there's a lot of times you look towards your coaches to help you out. Some things that your pop can't teach you. I was always like that with my kids. It's like I helped coach them till they got to 10, 11, 12 years old, and then I told them it's time for somebody else. My wife, my 3 sons, my parents, my mom, my dad, God bless his soul, everything that helped me to be who I am today, especially my coaching staffs at Denham Springs. They really helped. They were like father figures. They kind of point you in the right direction, but they also, they put you in timeout too. They made you run a lot. So keep it straight, keep it straight. I can tell my kids a lot of things that y'all did that they don't believe. It was like, oh yeah, we ran a lot. Coach D was unbelievable at practice, but come back now and you just love them all. I mean, they were just great. It was just such a blessing to play at Denham Springs and to be nominated for this.
Mr. Troy Fontenot. tonight, Miss Natalie Landry.
So I became involved at a young age, mainly from my parents. They, kind of just asked me, hey, I don't really think it was an option for us to just sit around and do anything or do nothing. And so PARDS came around. I was of age to play softball, and my dad was like, do you want to play? And at that point, I was just like, sure, it seems fun, running around in the dirt, making flower bracelets. So yeah, why not go play softball? So that's kind of how I got introduced, and then that led to a lifelong of sports after that. My biggest role model, cliche, everybody says it, is my dad. He played baseball at Catholic High, and so he had a love for baseball and softball. He kind of taught me, what it meant to work hard and that nothing would be given to you easily. If you wanted it, you had to work for it. And then track came along, and every year they have the parish track meet at Walker High School. They still do. So I was running, and I was winning my races and stuff, and this guy had come up and approached my parents and was like, hey, do you know your daughter's kind of fast? And my dad was like, well, I guess we're figuring that out because, she just won. And so he was like, I'm a coach, I'm coming out to recruit for AAU track team. And we're just seeing if we would love to have your daughter on our team, would y'all be interested? And at that moment, I could just read my dad's eyes thinking, great, more money. So, I'm sitting there going, please dad, I really want to do it. He said I'm good. And so that's how my AAU came about, was 5th grade. I still played softball, I still played summer ball, but track quickly became the front runner sport. And so during summertime, I could go to softball tournaments around track meets. Track came first. I firmly believe if I, given circumstances, I would have rode out track, as long as I could. But I kind of had some injuries along the way where, the doctor was like, you're just going to have to rest your legs and stuff, which I don't know how you rest your legs when you run track, play softball, volleyball. I was doing basketball at the time. And so I just kind of thought like, all right, maybe this is kind of getting towards the end. Let's, pursue something that wasn't so impactful with my legs and stuff. My high school year, that's where the fun started. And we kind of, I had played for years and years before that with Mr. Ben McDonald on our team Chaos. And honestly, those were the best years, was summer ball with Mr. Ben. He was awesome, and I've got some really good memories going all around the country. My last year of track was my 9th grade year, and I ended it with going to state at LSU, and I got 6th place in the 55-meter hurdles. So it was a good way to end. So my sophomore year is when I picked up softball, pretty full force. I was kind of focused on softball. That's when we kind of had a coaching change. We had Coach Bork and his team that came out, and Mr. Ben actually came and helped us. So it was almost like we brought summer ball to high school, so double the fun. And high school ball was really fun because you get to have the experience of just kind of, we were good. So walking around the halls, what a good record behind us was pretty cool. Nothing was more exciting than those home games, rushing, getting in the car, going to North Park, getting ready, and even the away games because you got to leave school early, which we thought we were so cool. Some really good memories I have was my junior year. We had to go play West Monroe for the first round of playoffs. And if anybody knows anything with sports, I think West Monroe is still like a powerhouse up there. I don't know what they breed, but West Monroe just always have been good. And so we were going up there ranked 15th, they were ranked 1. And so we had a good, fan base come and follow us, but, the odds were kind of against us, and we knew we were going up against a really good team. So when we got there, we just let loose. I mean, it was a game of all games, and we ended up winning. And we celebrated like we just won the championship game, and which was a good feeling having everybody, but seeing the look on West Monroe like they didn't know what just came and hit them, that was even a better feeling. That's the year we ended up taking it all the way. We were state runner-up, which, you know, I'm thankful that we got that far, but as far as like a sad moment, that's the first one that comes to mind, because as you know, close as it was against Hahnville, it still felt like needles hitting you, because it was like, oh, it was right there. You know, you could almost taste it. Receiving those awards for all state, all metro, all parish, those awards never get old, no matter how many times you get them, whether it's your first year, your second year, or your third year. It's always nice to feel recognized towards the end. You know, you put in all the hard work, and to have somebody notice it, it is just a really good, humbling feeling. But also, it's understanding that you didn't get those awards by yourself. My dad had found that Northwestern was putting on a camp in the springtime, and so I remember we had something for high school, but I asked Coach Bork permission if I could go to this camp, and he told me yes. So I went up there, I did, you know, whatever the camp. I talked to Coach Pickett towards the end, and we were about 30 minutes away on our way home, and he had called my dad and asked if he could talk to me. So I answered the phone, and he was like, Natalie, you know, I'd love to have you join in the fall. You know, I'm offering you a full scholarship if you'd like to join our team. And so it was just like, okay, yes. You know, all right, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to do. It really was a building year, because I think there was only 12 or 13 of us on the team at the time. But we took the team that went from dead last the season before, and we won the Southland Conference that year and got to go play in a regional at LSU. So that was really cool. You know, the year after that, we were conference champs again. And honestly, it was the next 3 years we were conference champs. And so we really took that team and turned it into something really good with lots of memories. First and foremost would be my parents. They believed in me at such a young age. My dad always, he never missed a game, he never missed a practice, and they made it work when times were really tough. They made sure to put all their time, effort, money, everything into to what I loved, which to me is like, as a parent, the most selfless thing you could do. I could write a novel on how much I really want to thank my parents first. Mr. Ben McDonald, he was a huge part of my life. From when we were babies, I grew up with his daughter, so we kind of went hand in hand. Some other people I want to thank is Coach Bork, Coach Salty, Coach LeBlanc, for believing in me, you know, growing up with high school. They took a chance on me, and, you know, they helped me get to where I am today. Coach Swallow, he's not a part of the Denham family, he's more of the Walker family. But he was my hitting coach growing up. My dad brought me to his house, and he's ultimately the one who taught me how to hit. And so he was really fun. He taught me everything I know. I even teach my kids things he taught me. But I always knew when it was time to go see him if I was in a slump. You know, my dad would be like, "Get in the car, we're going to Coach Swallow's," and I'm thinking, okay, great, he's really gonna hand it to me. But yeah, I run into him, you know, at the grocery store and stuff, and you know, we talk like we never missed a beat. He'll be like, "Natalie, you remember that, you know, time you went like 0 for 4?" And I'm, "Thanks, Coach, thanks. Yeah, I remember that."
Slam dude. And our final presentation tonight, Ms. D. Ranger Langlois.
I became first involved in sports at a very, very young age. I remember my mom catching us out in the yard and throwing ball and hitting some balls to us. And I think my dad caught on immediately that, hey, there's some potential here. And so Dad stepped in from that point and signed us up for what still exists as the PARDS rec ball. We've lived on Rancher Lane, of course, and that's where we had a softball field. My dad built us our own softball field where my house sits today. That was something I always wanted, was to build my house on the softball field. And so my dad built us a full softball complex, would you say. The only thing we were lacking was a concession stand, and we almost had that. That's where we practiced, that's where we played mini games, and our friends would come over and we would play there, and then we would end up in the swimming pool. Growing up, I had several role models, 3 that come to mind for sure. First and foremost, my mom and dad. If it wouldn't have been for my mom starting out in the yard with us, she wouldn't have gotten us started on softball, but for sure my dad. My dad picked up from there and carried the load of late night practices. Like I said earlier, the softball complex that was built in the field, there was never an excuse for sure. And if Dad was going to be late, it was make sure you throw your 100 pitches, strikes or balls, make sure you throw 100 pitches. And I can remember him setting up a net with a bucket. And so there was no excuse for even a catcher. And so I would have my bucket of balls and I would throw a bucket of balls to the net, and until I got to 100. And I can vividly remember him pulling up after a long day work in his work van and asking me what number I was on. And the funny thing is our hallway at the house is very narrow, but narrow enough and long enough for a pitcher. And so if it was raining outside, we were pitching in the hallway. And so many people ask, well, you didn't bust out the glass? And I said, even if I did, it didn't matter as long as we got our pitches in. For me, my dad was my biggest role model because he pushed me without making me hate it to be a better person. But then on the flip of that is my twin sister. You know, I have a twin sister who played ball side by side with me, so you always had a partner. You always had somebody to go outside and throw with. So play at the independent league, what we called summer ball after our rec league, and then even playing in high school. So I always had that partner with me. And so for that, I credit my family as my role models. Once I started tournament ball, we graduated from what we call the rec ball, I played with Stingers. And all of our friends that played on Stingers also were on our high school softball team. And so you create a family, and that becomes your friends and your family. You don't go to birthday parties on the weekends because you're playing ball. You don't go to weddings because you're at the ball tournaments. And so the friendships and those memories that were created still exist today. I still stay in touch with many of my friends that were my softball family. I have several memorable moments at Denham Springs High School. I think the first that stands out is my role as a freshman athlete and stepping up in the starting role as a pitcher in some sense. There was a rotation there, but rotating, pitching in really important games. But the biggest moment that stands out was the state tournament. You know, that's the goal for any high school athlete. And I got called in the first inning of the state tournament. And I remember being a nervous wreck. I don't remember how the game turned out. Of course, it was a blur, but the crowd and just pitching under the lights and the people, it just was a moment I remember as being very impactful to me as an athlete. And so it's something I definitely remember. Miss Spangler, Robbie Spangler and Lauren Byers took on coaching duties starting my sophomore year. And I remember the role they played in my life, and the memories I have of them are lasting. Every game, there was a note wrote to each player, and I still have all those notes. And it was so important for us because no matter if we won or lost, there was something said about our impact to the team, the positive impact, what we could do better, what we could change. And I just remember that's what we anticipated, those notes, because they were so important to us in our learning and our building as just young athletes and growing up and maturing. And so those memories have been, still are very important and near and dear to my heart. And speaking of just Denham Springs High School softball, you know, you can't help but see where it's gone or going from playing on the same field I played rec ball at and thinking we get to play at the high school softball field tonight, which was just another rec softball field. We always looked for the yellow tubing on the outfield fence because that was the high school softball field with the ads on the outfield fence. And then now to see that they're going to have their own complex, it's great. It's amazing, and I think softball needs that. I think all sports need their own fields at their high schools, but to see softball evolving the way it has, going from a rec field now to a brand new complex, it's exciting. I did have an outstanding career at Southeastern, and I had many highlights. I was very fortunate, but it doesn't go without saying hard work pays off. As a freshman, I think you leave the high school on a high because you're a standout athlete in your own high school, and then you enter a collegiate level where everybody's great. And so you don't walk in there the best, you're one of the best. And so for me, that was very humbling. I think that was the first time I'd been humbled as an athlete and reminded that I had to step back and start over and work hard because there was a senior second baseman playing. And so it was very hard for me to walk in and go, okay, D, you're gonna just be a DH while you sit behind one of the best second basemen in our division. And that was hard for me. I was like, I'm not used to sitting the bench, and I don't know how to mentally stay in the game if I'm just a hitter. And so I started having to think of, wait, what can I do different? And so I learned how to play outfield. And so I'd never played outfield, but if that was the way I was gonna get in the softball games and be in the softball games. So my freshman year, I actually played outfield. My accomplishments during my 4 years, of course, you know, I had some success each year, but I really had a standout senior year. I was recognized for all regional. Those accomplishments were just a lot of hard work. You know, you have to put in the work, and if I could tell that to any athlete, it doesn't just end when you start high school and you think you're at your best. I mean, the biggest and most humbling thing was learning that you had to work even extra harder at the collegiate level because everybody's good. And so that never stopped. I worked really hard and had a great senior year, and I made my mind up that I was going to go out with no regrets, and I certainly didn't. To be inducted into Denham Springs Hall of Fame is an honor that I still can't wrap my brain around. Like I said, we've had so many standout athletes come through Denham Springs. In graduating, we had 5 athletes alone, softball athletes, that went on to play at the collegiate level. So to be recognized as a Hall of Fame athlete in softball, I'm just honored to have the opportunity to do. One, for my kids to see, because my kids are athletes, and so it shows them that hard work pays off. There's many people I would like to thank, but most importantly, my mom and dad. Definitely want to thank my mom and dad, my sister, my twin sister, for just always being my wingman. But last but certainly not least is Robbie Spangler and Lauren Byers. Wow, they were so impactful during my high school career. Keeping God at center of the softball team, praying, keeping us motivated, you know, that we wanted to work hard, we wanted to go to practice, and we wanted to do good. And all credit goes to just them making us believe in ourselves. It's easy to lose a student athlete at our age. You know, they quit, they don't want to play. There's other things they want to get involved in, but they always saw to it that we were happy, but we wanted to work for them because they were great coaches, great motivators. And so for that, I'm forever thankful between those two, my mom and dad, and my twin sister.
All right, we're going to ask all our inductees to come back up one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our inductees one more time. Thank you very much. All right, my last introduction tonight will be Mr. Coach Beard. Coach Brett Beard is our athletic director and head football coach. He came to us from Live Oak High School, where he led the Eagles to a 31-27 record in 5 seasons. Their first ever playoff victory and their first ever win over the Yellow Jackets, which is why we're scolding. He will be offering our closing remarks tonight.
Well, first off, I'm not going to use the mic. I'm not a mic guy. It's an honor to stand before you and to represent you. And every year, being able to come back to this, it reminds me why I'm at Denham Springs and what I've fallen in love with. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you've done here, what you've built here, this community, and we just want to give back. And that's Mr. Spring has given me 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about 30. We got two, congratulations, Mr. Cole. I've got to coach his kid, and his kid played for me at Live Oak. He decided to figure it out and bring his other kid to me at Denham. So excited about that at Branchard. Good luck filling your mom's shoes. I get to come to work every day in the Butch Wax Field House, which is a lot of fun. I love that. I love to be a part of that, and hopefully can maybe one day be in the history books with them. I tell them all the time I just want a urinal in this field house named after me. I tell you, I couldn't be more proud to be Denham Springs, and because of what you hear on these videos is why. You can't not fall in love with everything. You can't not fall in love with the history and the tradition. The 125 years. That's amazing, and just the blip of that radar that sits in this room, that no doubt spans across many years. Well, it wouldn't be 125 years of success without every one of you in here. And I couldn't be more appreciative to hopefully be the guy that gets it back on track, to get it going again. You can see, we're building some amazing facilities. We've put together a heck of a coaching staff for all sports that I think embody what you've built. We're getting back to the old school way of just playing nasty, dirty, gritty, I'm gonna say sports, the way you built it. Heck, I can take this Fontenot guy right here and beat the crap out of a lot of 11 people with 11 that dude right there. I tell you, I love being in this room every year to be around the greats. I get to play golf with some of the greats in this room, get lessons from Mr. Cecil Harris, the man right there, Mr. Leslie right there, unbelievable golfer. Mr. Leslie, unbelievable. I get to take my butt whipping from them every week. Hopefully when they fire me from here, I get to still play golf with them. No, look, again, thank you to Forest Road. Thank you to, there's a lot of people go into this Hall of Fame, which is such a beautiful thing to do every year. And I want to especially thank Mr. Jenners, Coach Wax, Coach Bort, DSTV for a phenomenal night. Coach Wax, again, I love being able to be around him and learn from him, just as a lot of you have, just in a little different time of life. But once again, thank you. And I hope you're proud of what we're building and what we're doing to give back to the purple and gold. I know sometimes I get mixed emotions on the purple helmet. If I hadn't gone 1-7 the first year, I would have never changed the gold helmet. But I just felt like, we just needed a little change, a little spice added to what we were trying to do. But nothing changes the DS on the side of it. And I had a kid the other day, I made him take the helmet off because he didn't deserve to wear the DS at that moment. And that's one of the things we're doing, to instill pride back in what you've built. This hallowed ground we stand on is because of you. And because of you, I'm appreciative to be a part of what we're going to put back and build back. And thank you so much congratulations again to you 5 going in. It's huge to be a part of it. And look, go Jackets. We play at Walker tomorrow night. We're going to make Walker our home stadium again this week. We got the Santa Maria Gators. They're pretty good. It's going to be a nice little dogfight to figure out a way to go 6-1, 1-0 on the week. But our kids are starting to embody what you are and worth the price of admission. Facilities are coming along. You know, I get kicked every time I say this. I've been the positive one the whole time. I thought we were playing there tomorrow night, but obviously that didn't work out. Part of me still thinks we're going to play there week 9, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen either. But week 10 is realistic. Week 10 is realistic. If you haven't had a chance to get by and check it out, it's coming to life, and it's beautiful, and it's going to be something our kids are going to be able to really embody you and Denham Springs, the purple and gold going forward, and continue to add to this history. And again, thank you so much, and have a good night and be safe going home. Thank you all.
At this time, if I could get Miss Lois Wax and Les O'Neill up to the front to lead us in our alma mater. Everybody please stand. Thank you all again for being here tonight. God bless you and have a safe travels home. Look forward to seeing you all again next year.